This is one of those little side statistics that you know aren't rigged. And these are one of those statistics that you can use to say, well, if unemployment's coming down 6.5, 6.3, 6.2, whatever percent, it keeps coming down, hey, recovery's definitely here. I mean, unemployment numbers are coming down. The recovery must have worked. This massive printing of money and doubling our debt somehow worked. No, you've been lied to. So let me give you some statistics that shouldn't be quite so high as what I'm going to tell you. If the unemployment numbers were really where they say they are, 6.2 or 3% or whatever. If it was that low, you're not going to hear numbers like this getting worse and worse and worse year after year. And this is just out of the state of Florida. 2013 annual report. Homelessness in Florida from the state of Florida website. 2013 report on homelessness in Florida. Someone was asking me something, and I went and researched this to give them the answer. And then I kept reading, and I was like, oh my God, this deserves a video. So here it is. On one day and one night in January 2013, local communities counted approximately 45,000 persons who were living on the street or in an emergency shelter. This is Florida only. The data covers 54 counties and all 28 reporting homeless continuum of care planning areas. 13 counties did not conduct any count whatsoever due to the lack of resources due to the count. So there's an additional 13 counties that we don't even account for in this number. 45,000 people are living in the street in Florida or in an emergency shelter. Nationally, the U.S. Department of Housing and Urban Development reports homelessness amongst families with children at the fastest growing homeless population, as the fastest growing homeless population. Interesting. This is also true in Florida. For school year 2011 to 2012, Florida's public schools identified almost 64,000 students as homeless. And that number also would include families that have lost their housing and are staying with family and friends. So that means homeless, as in homeless, on the street. 2, could be in an emergency shelter. Or 3, are staying with family and friends because they have nowhere else to go. That is still a definition of homeless. You don't have your own house. You've lost your house and had to go somewhere else. That's what this number is. So that's 64,000 students counted into that number. Rationale. There are approximately 450,000, 500,000, what they call ELI, extremely low income, ELI, renter households in Florida. These are households with incomes at or below 30% of the area median income. For that community or that area. This equates to a family of 4, for example, in Orlando, earning $17,550 or less per year, or an elderly couple in the Panhandle with an annual income of $11,550. A large majority, 75%, of ELI, or extremely low income, households are cost burdened, spending 40% or more of their entire income on housing alone. Between 2005 and 2011, the number of cost-burdened ELI renter households increased a whopping quarter, or 24%. Between 2005 and 2011, the number of cost-burdened, extremely low-income renter households increased 24%, from 256,000 in 2005 to 318,000 in 2011. How can we possibly have unemployment levels going down from basically that same time frame? They started to creep up, came back down. No, I think they creeped up and then went way higher, but then the fake numbers had to come out to pretend that they're not what they are. Just give them EBT cards. These people are living in their other households. That'll at least let them survive. They get off the charts, off the statistics. We look like we're a great government, when in reality, the unemployment level is probably mind-blowing how high it is. Across the state, the need for housing affordable to ELI households far exceeds the supply. A 2013 analysis conducted by the University of Florida's Schimberg Center on Housing Studies for Florida Housing Finance Corporation found that in all regions of the state, except the Northwest and Northeast non-metropolitan counties, the need is twice the supply. For every 100 ELI renter households, there are 50 or fewer affordable and available units. Statewide, the average is 31 affordable and available rental units for every 100 ELI renter households. So if the average is 31 are available, but there's 100 people in line who desperately need them, that leaves 70 or 69, whatever, households still in need out of the 100. 69 out of the 100 are basically being told there's no housing available that you can afford to pay. Oh, there's housing. Matter of fact, the banks and the massive amount of foreclosure they're still sitting on are sitting here. We took our kids to the beach a couple weeks ago. And we get to the park. Oh, closes at 6 on Sundays. Oh, we want to see the sunset, which we need to be there till past 8 or just after 8. Okay, so we go to another one by the power plant over near, well, it doesn't matter where because it's not like most of you are near me. But there's this little small park, had a little bit of beach access. Great. We went down there, parked, went out, kids playing around a little bit, had a good time. And I noticed on the way in, one of these, former $1 million houses sitting right there on the beach, as you go down to the end where the park is. Nice houses. $1 million houses all day long. Probably starting at million, And we go by and I noticed this one that is completely out of place. It looked like it was one of these newer built ones. Person probably got it several years ago. The housing crisis took effect. They got kicked out, left it. Now there's a for sale sign in the yard. And it was a standard realtor, for sale sign. But the house was absolutely neglected like you cannot believe. Just overgrown with all kinds of weeds, stuff climbing up the house. It did not look like a very good house. Yet it was just because it was not maintained for a few years. So that's all it takes to destroy these things. But that reminded me of, that's one house. Sure, it's a nice house. But you go into an average neighborhood and you'll see a lot of houses in that same situation. Not the $1 million houses, the $100,000, $150,000, whatever dollar houses. Same situation. And it's bank owned, bank owned, bank owned, bank owned, and bank owned. And they're still not selling like they used to. Matter of fact, the last month or two, real estate statistics are not looking good at all. Just going to throw that out there. And I've got a Webbot report to do shortly after this video that talks a little bit about the coming housing crash and some new updates. But for anyone that believes these fake bogus numbers, unemployment, oh yeah, it came down, man. You cannot have another statistic like this that directly correlates with working class people, because if you have these extremely low income renters, means they don't have a whole lot of money. Why don't they have a whole lot of money? Most of them are below the average, so how is that even possible? You do not have unemployment where it's at. I'm not buying it. So, gotta keep it real. Gotta give you the news. One of these days, maybe I'll be able to come in here and give you phenomenal news. And unfortunately, when that day comes, the phenomenal news I'm going to be giving you is that silver has absolutely skyrocketed. It went up some absurd number in one day. Oh my God. That's going to be the good news. Except the problem with that is it's really bad news. Because when that happens, the economy is not going to be looking good. But those of you who've sat on your silver this whole time will be looking real good.